today amid fears of a new variant of COVID-19 that reportedly has multiple mutations. For more, let's talk to Chiponda right there in Berlin. Great to have you, Chiponda. Well, Germany is already dealing with a COVID surge. With this new variant, just how big of a concern is this?
Well, Laddie, it's obviously a major concern here because we have seen the authorities say that they will be implementing more travel restrictions for travelers from South Africa. So anyone traveling from South Africa will have to have a 14-day quarantine. And of course, they're only allowing people who live in Germany. So German residents are the only people allowed to travel from South Africa, and they will have to quarantine for 14 days. And that's regardless of whether they've been vaccinated or not. So that's a bigger restriction. And they've also said that they will potentially also consider expanding that travel restriction to other countries in Southern Africa. So neighboring countries, which of course are close to South Africa and potentially will also have that COVID variant. That's what they are doing. And of course, it comes at a time when we have this surge here in Germany. We're talking about the highest level of COVID infections ever seen during the pandemic, around 440 cases per 100,000 people over the last 7 days. So that's the highest number we've seen here in Germany. And that's why there's such a huge concern over the COVID variant, because of course, a new variant on top of the Delta variant could be very, very deadly. There's airlifts in Germany. Hospitals are airlifting some patients where, of course, hospitals have way too many people in the ICUs, and they have to go to maybe another area in the country where there's slightly less patients in hospital there. And that's what we are seeing in Germany. So it's dire times for Germany trying to get this COVID surge under control at a time when we see a new variant.
Dire times indeed, Chip. But what is the response to the news of this variant in Europe? How are investors digesting this?
Well, in terms of the European response, we can talk first of all about the EU response, and that would be we saw a tweet from the EU EU chief, Ursula von der Leyen, who tweeted that they would consider activating an emergency break for travel from Southern Africa. So that could also lead to more responses from other EU countries. We've also seen other EU countries like the Netherlands and Italy also saying that they might have more travel restrictions also for South African travelers or people traveling from South Africa, like the German one, which has been announced. So of course, there's going to be potentially more travel restrictions. And what we've seen in terms of the market are travel stocks, tourism stocks falling steeply. If you talk about Deutsche Lufthansa, Airbus, falling around 10%, plunging 10% in today's trading. So that is a major drop. And of course, travel stocks are really, really a concern for investors because, of course, more travel restrictions just mean definitely bad business for the travel industry. And that is why there's a lot of concern there. And we've seen the drops being very steep today.
Yeah, and riskier markets also got hit pretty bad. But the markets have been searching for, direction this week. But this variant has given them a clear, direction on Black Friday. What will investors be looking at for next week?
Well, in terms of direction, there's obviously a sell-off today, but that sell-off could be also triggered by the fact that there's fewer volumes traded, and that is also because, of course, the U.S. markets have been closed for Thanksgiving. They will only be open for half the day today, so that's also less volume in terms of trade. But on Monday, U.S. traders will be back to Wall Street, and we will see what kind of direction they'll be taken based on this news of this COVID variant. That's what markets will be looking at as well on Monday. What is the U.S. Wall Street response to this COVID variant? That's the first thing. And of course, is the OPEC Plus group of countries, the oil producers, meeting on Thursday on December 2nd to talk about January oil supply. Now, that meeting was initially going to focus on the 50 million barrels of oil reserves that the United States plans to release onto the market to help tame oil prices. But I think, of course, now they'll also be looking at this new COVID variant and what it means for the oil markets, because of course oil is down today because of course travel stocks being down or travel demand going down also means less demand for oil. So that's something that also investors will be looking at. And of course, they'll also be looking at any new information coming regarding this COVID variant, because we also don't know a lot about this COVID variant. Is it more transmissible? Is it going to be worse when someone gets it? Do they get a worse infection or do they get severely ill compared to other COVID variants? And of course, how do they respond if they've already been vaccinated? Is the vaccine even responsive to this, to this COVID variant? So all of those are questions that they'll be looking at for the coming weeks. So there's going to be probably a lot of jitters on the market in the coming weeks, as of course we get more information about this variant as well.
All right, Chip, what a way to actually end the week. Thank you so much, Chip, for the update, and enjoy the weekend and stay safe.
Likewise, Laddie.
All right, no market is spared today. Let's look at what's happening in Asia. We see the Nikkei 225 in